Hey guys, Cavalin Day here, your behavior gladiator. Just going to drop in today to do a quick video. We're going to talk to you about parent and family engagement. Many of you may know that that is one of the topics that I present and teach and consult on quite a bit. It's the topic of my book, Authentically Engaged Families, and something that I'm very, very passionate about. I would say that I started getting interested in family engagement back in grad school when I realized that a lot of teachers were feeling a lot of extra pressure to perform within the classroom and to support their students and not feeling like they were getting the support they needed from home, but yet also not feeling comfortable to reach out to home to really get the support that they were desperately needing. So that was a chapter in my original book, Drag I'm Kicking and Screaming, and became the second book as well. So today we're going to just talk about some really practical strategies that you can actually apply to your life today that you can use to help improve your parent and family engagement either at the classroom level if you're a classroom teacher, or a school wide if you are an administrator or a counselor or a social worker as well. So we're going to start by talking about the top three reasons that I think you're not getting the engagement that you actually want from your parents and families. And then I'm going to give you a couple strategies for how I think you can overcome those. So first of all, I think the number one reason, and I see this time and time again, the number one reason that you're not getting the engagement that you want from your parents and families is because you're not asking for it. I think there's an assumption that parents know what to do, that parents don't want to help out at school, or if they're not there, that they're not there because they don't care, right? And I think that couldn't be farther from the truth. And I speak both from personal experience as a parent, but also as a school counselor as well. Typically, I think parents see us as educators as the expert. So they're waiting for us to make clear, crystal clear descriptions of what they need to be doing at home. When I work with schools individually, a lot of times what I tell them is you should have a list of 10, 20, 30, 40 things that a parent can do to support their child's academic, social, and emotional development, both in your classroom, at home, in the community. If you don't have those, you need to make sure that that's something that you have and that you present regularly to them. You can check my website, cavalinday.com. There are some strategies there that will be available, and I'll make sure I include a link to that with this video. It's really important that you be very clear with what you're expecting. It's nice to say we want you to read for 20 minutes, right? But if I'm a mom who's working all day or who doesn't pick up my kids until maybe 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening from aftercare or what have you, the idea of reading for 20 minutes might feel overwhelming. And so it would be really easy for me to just say, well, I can't do it, and to just kind of put it to the side. But if you break that down into 3, 4, 5 minute tasks, like have your son or daughter read the back of the box to you while you're making dinner, right? You're pulling out the hamburger helper, read that for 5 minutes. Or, have your son or daughter read every commercial that comes on. Have your son or daughter read the back of their breakfast cereal when they're eating in the morning. Something simple like that. It's really 3 to 5 minutes of reading, but believe me, those 3 to 5 minutes are adding up. And those simple strategies are what busy, overwhelmed parents are looking for. So as an educator, what you want to do is give them super specific, simple ways that they can have an impact on their child's outcomes. Parents want that, right? They're not sending their child to school because they want them to not succeed. They want them to be successful, but they're looking to us to give them that information. So the number one reason you're not getting the family engagement that you want is because you're not specifically asking for what you want to see. So get specific. Number two, I would say the number two thing is the number two reason you're not getting the engagement that you want, if you've been really specific about what you want, is that parents don't feel that they can provide what you're looking for. So this might be a mom who is saying, third grade math is about as high as I can go, and I don't have the skill set to support my child. Or maybe a dad who's saying, yes, you want me to come and volunteer, but I know that my work schedule won't allow it. When you're given those clear expectations, it also help parents to see ways that they can think outside of the box, right? As a parent, I've help my children with their homework, and definitely have felt from time to time like maybe I'm, missing the mark on something. So make sure that parents have access to a lot of resources, right? Whether it be a 1-800 number or a couple of websites or blogs that are going to give them good strategies. Make sure that you are giving them those resources so they feel competent to help their children. And then lastly, and this is one that I think is we as educators really have to work on, is not communicating with parents, but instead we're communicating at them. You've been in that conversation, right? Where the person is just kind of throwing stuff at you, throwing, and they haven't really stopped to hear your side of the story. They haven't really stopped to hear what it is that you actually need. Having a two-way conversation with a parent is a powerful tool to know what it is they need from you so that you can also support them as they support you and their child. Having those conversations can be challenging. One of the things that I hear my clients say a lot is, I can't get the parents to even pick up the phone. We have the same 5 or 10 parents that show up every week. There's definitely ways to work around that. And I'll have some links below here that you can also look at as far as strategies that I recommend for working around the fact that parents aren't always showing up at the events. The truth is, there's lots of ways to have conversations. These conversations can happen back and forth over paper. I've seen parents, some teachers use journals that go back and forth between school and home. These can happen in phone calls, in text messages, over social media if necessary. These can happen with Google Docs. This can happen in lots of different ways. But you want to get some conversations going. If it's the beginning of the school year, as the time that I'm actually recording the video, you may be watching it at a different time. But if you're at that registration time, that back to school time, that ice cream social time, don't use that as just an opportunity to hand out some paperwork. Use that as a chance to actually get some information. When I was a school social worker, one of the things I would do is I would have an interactive bulletin board in the front of the school building. And so sometimes it might ask a question and then there'd be some post-it notes and some paper. The kids love to answer the questions, and then we might get some feedback from parents. Sometimes I might have a bowl, and just ask them to drop their suggestions in the bowl or to answer a particular question or vote. You might have 2 separate bowls and, vote, do you want a pizza, a pizza dinner, or do you want a mommy breakfast or what have you? Vote between those 2 bowls. Those kind of things get you some information without you having to do a lot of extra work. Using all of your resources, all of your technology, that's an important one. I'll share a video in just a little bit about how to use social media. That's one of those things that I think schools really could harness the power of that. But those are the things that I want you to look at is, are you being really clear with your expectations on not just at the beginning of the school year, but throughout the school year? Are you being really clear? This week we're working on XYZ. I would really love it if you could take your kid to the grocery store with you. This week we're working on, history. I would really like it if you would have a conversation with your child about your family history. Be really clear on a daily or even a weekly basis about how parents can support you. Make sure that you're passing out lots of resources. As educators, we love a good resource. We love a worksheet. We love a Pinterest pin. We love a website. Pass those on to your parents. Don't assume that they've got too much information, although they sometimes can have. But if you know something's really, really great, that their kids really love it, or that it's made a huge impact with even your family, pass that along to them and tell them how they can use it in their lives. And then lastly, make sure that you're having conversations with your families and not just speaking at them. Don't just give them directive or management conversation. Actually have some talks with them to figure out what's their needs and how you can better support them. Hopefully you can apply these strategies to your classroom or your school and see some positive impact in your family engagement. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.